pin those two guys against each other.
I love this. I love this. This is what made it all happen, man. This is why Scottie Pippen became one of the greatest defenders that we've ever seen. This every single day, he's got to guard MJ. All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So today I wanted to check out this video that's been on my back burner for a little while for two reasons. One, the topic, which is why the 96 Chicago Bulls were the GOATs, told by NBA legends. And two, because I haven't checked in on BTM, Basketball Time Machine, in a while. And this video came out about a month ago on his channel. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of him. I call him the godfather of basketball YouTube content. And he's actually who got me into getting away from the mainstream media when it came to basketball, the sport I love. And it was the best thing ever because I was starting to fade away from basketball for a couple of years until I found BTM's channel. And it reignited that spark that I had for basketball. Just coming from the view and the lens of a real fan who experienced a lot of the same things that I experienced, watching and playing basketball in the 80s and 90s and so on. Like, it really like reconnected me with that love. And I mean, I read all of your guys' comments, and it seems like there's kind of a similar situation going on here, which I'm really, really happy about because we all have a lot in common. We've had a very similar basketball journeys as far as like our love and appreciation for the sport goes. And yeah, we're on YouTube for a reason, right? And that's because we're sick of the mainstream media, and we want to see the sport that we love covered by people who actually love the sport instead of hate it. Anyways, with all that being said, that's why I wanted to check in on BTM, and I'm always going to do it. I'm always going to check in on his channel, whether it's just personally or for reaction or whatever. But as I always do, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description. So if you want to check out this video without my commentary, or you want to check out BTM's channel, highly recommend it. Everybody, please leave this video a like. Helps out a ton. You know the drill. Let's do this. Let's appreciate the best team of all time.
The lead, and Pippen held the game in his hands.
We got two shots.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean Davis.
How did you get those, by the way? How did you get those audios from those NBA players? I've always been curious.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean Davis.
What's up, Sean?
Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball.
Yes,
now,
sir.
It is about time to have the largest and longest NBA legends talking about the 1996 Chicago Bulls video of all time. And I found some new clips, which is pretty cool. So clips you hopefully haven't seen before, some classic clips, obviously. And of course, you also get my personal opinion. But before we start with this, let me ask you guys for a small favor. If you're new to the show, subscribe to the channel. If you watch my show on a regular basis and you still haven't subscribed, come on, man, support this channel.
Come on,
all
you
right,
were one of my first subscribes. I used to never subscribe to YouTube channels, but this is one of those. You might have been the very first I subscribed to. And of course, I liked the video, but...
Now the first clip that we're going to take a look at is from Byron Scott on his new podcast, which I really can recommend, talking to one of my favorite comedians, Aries Spears. Let's have a look.
Okay.
I got another question for you.
Oh, I know this guy.
And this is another one where I wage war.
Yes, sir.
The Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant against the 72-10 Bulls. Who wins that series? And before you answer, I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, and I'm being nice, I give
Bulls because of defense.
the Warriors a game. I think it's a sweep, but I give them a game.
Damn.
I give them two.
I give him 2.
Okay.
But I'm going with the Bulls.
Okay.
I give them 2. Because you look around at that Chicago Bull team and you look at that Golden State team, and you know this is always the question. Oh, who gonna guard Steph? Who gonna guard Clay? Who gonna guard? Okay, you do know they had 3 of the best defenders of all time. Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yeah, in Michael Jordan,
Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper,
Dennis Rodman, and Ron Harper.
Yep.
So
I know Luke Longley's the only weak link there defensively, but the other 4s, they're going to figure it out. I give the Warriors 2 games in that simply because 2 out of those 6 games, the Warriors are going to hit every freaking 3 in the world, and they're just gonna be lights out and they're gonna win. But you can't do that every single game. So yeah, the Bulls are gonna win in 6, in my opinion, which is
they're
typical.
gonna guard the shit out of them.
But here's what the the fans, the people that ain't never played will say. Man, who's stopping Steph with the threes and Clay with the threes?
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So I'm gonna say Rod or MJ is guarding Steph.
Right.
Rod or MJ is guarding Clay.
Right.
Kevin Durant, Scottie Pippen got you.
Now he's not stopping a Kevin Durant.
He's not stopping him, but he gonna make it hard.
He gonna
I got MJ guarding Clay, Ron Harper guarding Steph. Reason is you can burn all that energy on defense. Jordan's gonna carry the offensive load because of that, because it's an easier cover to guard Clay than Steph running all over the court. And then Pippen on Durant. Rodman's gonna cause his chaos down low.
He gonna make it
KD,
hard.
the Mike Rainey
he gonna make it because again, Scotty 6'7", 6'8",
right.
long.
Right.
Kevin 6'11", really.
Right.
He ain't gonna stop him, but he gonna be right there on every shot.
Yep.
Okay.
And he gonna be in his ass to make him put it on the floor. He not gonna give him open shots.
And Dennis Rodman will literally be in Draymond's ass.
Oh yeah.
Literally be in it.
Again, that's a carbon copy.
Right.
Those are two. Right. You got 2 great defenders.
Yes.
Draymond's a great defender.
Right.
Draymond handles the ball and initiates offense. Obviously, that's not Dennis's forte. But rebounding and defending, Chicago beats them in 5-6.
And then I would throw in.
Yeah, Rodman is the original. So the copy being Draymond, no way. The original's gonna crush him.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but you got 2 7-footers who can shoot from the perimeter, and Longley and Winnington.
Yeah.
And then you still got to almost worry about Steve Kerr with the threes. And
No,
Bush.
you don't almost have to. You have to.
Okay.
Steve Kerr to this day has the best percentage all time in NBA history from 3.
When you look at the 95-96 team,
And that's a good point, because if you want to switch it up, defensive, it would get rough, because if you put Steve Kerr in at point, then he's got to guard Steph, which sucks because Kerr's not a good defender. But also, Kerr would be like Steph if somebody like Steph was guarding him. You feel me? Steph's not really a good defender either. So if Steve Kerr can get whatever shot he wants, hey, that would be a hell of a show.
Look at winning and 72-10. I don't think people really realize that everybody on that team understood their role. They embraced their role and they were a star in their role. And then that, we couldn't have won if that wasn't the case. Obviously, we had the best player that ever played the game, but everybody has to understand their role. And I think the second thing people don't realize is back then it was harder to get information out of the inside of what we had going on. So I remember when MJ came back, he had been practicing with us for a while, and nobody knew. We kept that under wraps. Obviously, with social media and everything now, it's hard to do that. But
crazy with social media now.
I think those are the 2 things that I don't think people really realize.
Dennis was new that year. He had lost Horace Grant in his rebounding and his defense at that power forward spot. So Dennis fit that bill perfectly, and really above and beyond for what Dennis did.
When the lights turn on, he gave everything he had.
There's the athleticism of Dennis Rodman.
Doesn't give up on the ball.
Now with the second clip, you will see Aris Spears again. And yeah, I mean, he's a hardcore Chicago Bulls fan, and he always has some good points. Now talking to Gilbert Arenas. Let's have a look.
Who would win between the 72-10 Bulls and the Warriors with KD? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I give the Warriors maybe 2 games. Ooh, maybe.
So what you really have,
and I don't give a damn about the eras.
No. Okay, so when it comes to styles, you have a defensive team.
4 to 5 starters.
You're talking about
premier defenders.
You're talking about just straight premier defenders, and they're all at the same position.
2 3-point assassins.
And then you have all guard play on. But you have Michael Jordan.
You got Scotty.
You have Michael, they have a KD.
Scotty's on KD. He ain't stopping KD, but it's going to be a tough day at work.
So Mike on Steph? Who's stopping Steph?
You don't know.
Ron Harper's going to be a problem.
You're going to pick
So then Mike on Clay?
Michael destroying Clay.
Yeah, it's going to.
I mean,
So you got to remember, it's because that was the team. That was a small ball team that nobody actually paid attention to.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a perfect matchup. But you know, when you're talking about somebody like Jordan coming through the lane, like he's gonna average 40 something that series because there's no one that can physically stop him.
And if you are talking about today's rules, yeah, he's gonna average 40, maybe more.
What's so funny is no matter
and it's not you might hear him say that and think like that's crazy, but Jordan already did average 40 something in a series. He did it against my Suns, and it was in the NBA Finals in '93. So you want to talk about like the Warriors defense with the lane wide open? Yeah, man, Jordan's gonna just have a dunk fest.
The thing is, it's gonna be KD and Jordan.
Ron Harper stepped up. Tony Kukoc really developed in the previous 2 years. Really, that team really meshed so well as a team. And that was one of Phil's philosophies, that the wholeness and the balance of everything has to be together. And I think that's one of the best teams where truly, I think everyone liked everyone and wanted to be around everyone all the time.
Yeah, how did Tony Kukoc never win Sixth Man of the Year in those 3 years?
Phil would break us up every now and then and pin those two guys against each other.
I love this. This is what made it all happen, man. This is why Scottie Pippen became one of the greatest defenders that we've ever seen. Every single day, he's got to guard MJ. That's the best way to become the best defender ever, is go against the greatest offensive juggernaut we've ever seen every single day in practice. Anybody else he matches up in a game against? Nothing. He's got nothing.
They're really the only ones who could push each other to the limits, but everyone else had to fight to keep up with them. Every night you step on the floor, teams were really gunning for you. In warm-ups, you could tell sometimes where teams just, before the game started, kind of succumbed to, wow, we don't have a chance. And other teams, we could see guys really roughing it up, getting ready, and like, okay, we're gonna have a little battle tonight.
Ruffin has it blocked by Longley. Oh, what a play to Pippen. Sally, yes,
It seemed like nothing went wrong that whole year.
We won a lot of games because of the closeness. Nothing rattled us.
Randy
We
Brown.
were more polished from the neck up. We thought the game out a little bit more. We read each other more. We communicated better on the court. We had a great group of guys in terms of our bench, guys that, were professionals in terms of taking care of their bodies and being ready for the back-to-backs.
The 72-10 season was absolutely incredible, and how dedicated the team and coaching staff were, not necessarily to achieve that record, but to make sure that they were ready to win another championship.
The Chicago Bulls have won the 95-96 NBA championship, 4 in 6 years.
Yes, sir.
As they defeat the Sonics 87-75.
Was it the NBA versus Michael Jordan? I kind of felt that watching The Last Dance. Like, it was like no one really believed they could beat Michael Jordan's Bulls, but it was like, man, it was like the whole they tried their best, especially the second one after the Rockets. It seemed like
everybody was trying, man. But it was just he was too good. The system that they had, their triangle offense was too good. Scotty was too good. And
what a pass.
You could beat him on, like, if you catch him on an off night, you could beat him. But no team could beat him in a 7-game series, because they will eventually figure you out, like great fighters do. They'll eventually figure you out, and they'll go towards your weakness and beat you. And it never failed, man. The one thing that teams cannot do when you go to play the Chicago Bulls is you can't suffer the Mike Tyson effect. Mike, how Mike used to have to do before they even got to the ring? That's the way the Bulls, that's what it was like for a lot of guys playing the Bulls.
Scottie Pippen walking into the arena the other day runs into Paul Pabst from Dan Patrick's show. Yeah. Paul asks him, if your team from 96 played these Warriors, what would happen? And Scottie said, we would sweep them. The 96 Bulls would sweep the Warriors. Charles, what do you think?
Oh, no.
I
Here we
disagree
go.
with Scottie.
By the way, shout out to Kendall Gill on that earlier on. All right, here we go.
The Warriors would win one game.
One game.
But I think they would, because you got the three, probably arguably the three most athletic players to ever play in the NBA. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. They would have a field day against a small, no disrespect, the Warriors are terrific. Steph Curry is terrific. Klay Thompson, they're amazing. Draymond's a hell of a player. But Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan in a free-flowing game, no hand checking, they would be even better than they were in 96. Michael Jordan playing by the day's rules.
Yep.
He's at a serious advantage. And Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen can guard Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But they have nobody can keep Dennis Rodman off the boards. And he can guard Draymond. He can guard Iguodala. So listen, this team here is a great little team. But the Bulls would, I disagree with Scottie. Those Warriors would win a game.
Now the next clip that we're going to take a look at is actually from one of the most underrated defenders of his era, John Spider Sally. Obviously, he played for the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons, but also for the Chicago Bulls. Let's hear what he has to say.
You joined the Bulls early that season in March. What do you remember the most about that stretch run at the end of the regular season when the team was trying to break the record?
I remember when you walked in and Tex was trying to show me the offense, and I pulled out my videotapes. I had VHS tapes of the triangle that we had in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And he was looking at it, goes, this is how you guys played us? I go, yeah. So I kind of got an idea of it, and I just kept wanting to learn it. But it was, we win here. We walked in the game, it was like 50% chance you already won. When you walk with Michael, it's 110 chance you're gonna win. The other guys are thinking, I'm not gonna get embarrassed. I hope he doesn't dunk on me. They were in fear playing us, and that was the most amazing thing.
All right, so John, we know the Warriors eclipsed the record with 73 wins in 2016, but they didn't win it all that year. Your team, you did. The wins record was great, but how important was it to finish 96 and that record with the championship?
Oh, there's no contest at all. To have it's like the Patriots team that went undefeated until they lost to the wild card New York Giants. Best day of my life, by the way. Happiest day of my life. It didn't mean jack is my point. It didn't mean jack. The undefeated season meant nothing without that Super Bowl win.
That's exactly how Phil put it. Phil said all of this work and all the things we're doing, you don't get this far. When the playoffs started, it was going into another season.
Listen, and people even when you try to make a fair, honest comparison, people think you're hating. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper would be better today.
Yep.
They would be better players today, in my opinion. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, they would be better. There's no hand checking Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc.
I'm just saying that there's no...
And Steve Kerr. I could throw Steve Kerr in there. Without hand checking, he's free to shoot.
Yeah, that beats us fast. So,
you forgot Ron Harper on that list.
No, Ron Harper and he'd be great defensively. Ron Harper was a hell of a player.
I know, but you're going to rattle those guys off. Do it again. Do it again.
I think I could handle Durant there. I would give Jordan the edge in his...
Wait, hold up. It's Vince Carter and Paul Pierce. I missed that show. Harper on Curry, Jordan on... Yeah. That's exactly how I saw it. Yep.
Edge in his...
By the way, I missed this show, or when T-Mac was in this seat too, was really cool. But yeah, Rachel and Scottie, I liked that duo. Rachel, Scottie, and T-Mac was really cool, and I miss that version of Scottie Pippen.
This category, I think me and KD will probably be a wash.
Really?
6'11", the guy shoots the ball from all over the court.
You were okay on defense, I remember.
I mean, that's why I say it was a wash. I think we could kind of watch each other play out. Michael, could probably take over Clay. But in terms of Steph and Ron Harper, I may give Steph.
Y'all had three guys that can guard Kevin. I mean, Dennis wasn't a slouch on defense. Michael could guard him. You could guard him.
I also think that we had a very strong bench. Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc. We had good shooters in our bigs. Bill Winnington. We had a pretty good team. I feel good about my team. It's hard to say how we would match up with today's players.
Historically?
Yeah, if you take any of the great teams.
Oh, this is messed up, dude. Because he was part of both teams that are in discussion here.
You're matching them up with the 17 Warriors. Who's the team that you're like, oh shit, they would be a problem? Because I would say the 86 Celtics, but I'm biased.
Yeah, and I'm biased, so I'm going to say the 96 Bulls. I mean, I think, honestly, when I look back at that Bulls team, that team was actually built to play today. Now, minus the volume of three-point shooting, but I think that team was capable of it. But when you're talking about the versatility that you need to defend today, if you throw out onto the court Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, and Dennis Rodman, that's a 2020 defense.
Right.
That's true. They could go super small ball, and yeah, they did that occasionally too. When Luke Longley was getting destroyed defensively, they would throw in a small ball lineup with Tony Kukoc at the 4 and Dennis Rodman at the 5. That would definitely work in 2025.
Those 5 guys can guard anybody, and then offensively, nobody ever could guard Michael Jordan then. You can only imagine now with the spacing and the rules, and Kukoc was unbelievable. He was way better than people really remember him for.
Golden State Warriors were in the era of the Chicago Bulls.
This is fun.
They would just reconstruct their big guys. They would have a guy like Rick Mahorn on their team, and then they would be able to play that way. But if you put Rick Mahorn in this era, he wouldn't be able to guard Draymond Green because he wouldn't be able to come out and guard him. But in that era, they would just have to change personnel slightly and then still be as good. If you add guys like, no disrespect, but if you add guys like, if you give Steph Curry and Klay Thompson the same big men that Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars had, they could do the same thing in that era. But they would need James Edwards. So you would just change the personnel. It wouldn't change the way they win.
You missed one point. The defense was, constructed a little different.
No, that's why you got to change personnel.
No, but I'm saying back then you was able to hand check.
Right, so you just change personnel a little bit.
They'd be good, but they're not going to win.
But if you took the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah would still be Isaiah, without question. But Rick Mahorn couldn't guard Draymond Green in this era. He couldn't guard him in this era.
He could, but we're not comparing it to this era. We're talking about the Chicago.
But you can't take that team because they're constructed under the rules that are here. So they're saying, okay, under these rules, can you bring those teams here?
Actually, listen, and people even when you try to make a fair, honest comparison, people think you're hating. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper would be better today. They would be better players today, in my opinion. Yep. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, they would be better. There's no hand checking Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that's why, to me, this is not even a debate, is because if you play the game of the eras, then the 96 Bulls going into the 2017 time period with those rules, the Bulls torched them. But if you bring the Warriors of 2017 to 1996, that's a sweep. That's an absolute sweep.
Premier. There are going to be 2 premier players because they don't have a 7-footer that's going to be able to keep up with him. No matter if you put Pippen on him or Jordan, or what's the name, he's still going to be able to pull up on anybody. So it's those 2, and then Jordan is going to carry because no one is physically.
And you don't think that from a shooting,
you give him 2 games, I'll give him 1, maybe 2.
I wanted to say sweep.
Yeah, that's what I said. Depending on how mad Michael is. Okay. But you got to remember, you still got KD is just a different beast. Okay. So he can carry the team. He can carry a team because you really he's gonna put Pippen in foul trouble. He'll put those guys in foul trouble, but there's nobody stopping Michael from getting to the basket.
Okay, this might be my old man.
But I don't think Golden State wins this series now.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This might be my old man shit, but I don't really think the Warriors beat any of those teams. Bird, Celtics, Shaq, Kobe, Lakers,
they whooping them
Pistons, the bad boys.
You know, I've said it countless times on my show, watching the Chicago Bulls in 1996, especially as a teenager, it was the greatest thing basketball-wise that I had ever seen. And I'm not talking about how beautiful it was, but just what a privilege it was to watch every single game really enjoying yourself.
Yeah, me too, man.
Really realizing, even as a kid, that you're watching something special. Yep. I started to become an NBA fan in the early 90s, so I'm talking 1992. So the 1996 season, I was already understanding the game. I was already playing for 6 years myself, and I noticed what I'm seeing is basketball history. It was poetry in motion, and it was the greatest time to be alive watching NBA basketball, and that's why I'm always grateful to that team.
Yeah, that 95-96 thing, it was so special because Jordan came back, first of all, so that was already something. But then, as I'm watching all those games in 95 leading into 96, it just... You started understanding and seeing this is special. How many wins are these guys gonna get? And when they started closing out the season and they're going for the record, it was just I think I'm witnessing the greatest team of all time. It's not what I expected. I was just celebrating Michael Jordan coming back, my favorite player of all time. I had no idea they were about to dominate the entire league the way they did.
Tony understood, when Michael came back, that this was Michael's team.
It started immediately after we lost to Orlando.
Very disappointed. I think, my intentions coming back here was, to have a chance. I felt we had a chance to win it all and just try to get it all out of the system and start over.
Michael basically said, I'm taking us 7 days off and I'm getting ready for the next season. Not the warning to everybody else, but it was a sign, okay, I want you all to be ready for the next year because next year can be special.
He's out for revenge.
My first season was the
That's
95-96 season, and it ended with Tony hoisting the Sixth Man of the Year trophy. So by that time, I think it was pretty apparent that the guy could play.
Wait, what was that? What did he win?
My first season was the 95-96 season, and it ended with Tony hoisting the Sixth Man of the Year trophy.
Okay, so he did win Sixth Man of the Year. All right, my bad.
So by that time, I think it was pretty apparent that the guy could play.
Tony driving to the
lane. For sure.
Early on in that next season, that Michael bought into what Tony could do and understood that, that's another weapon.
Kukoc on the move to Jordan. His feet, the door is going in.
Yes. I didn't think Tony saw Michael streak him.
He was the man in Europe. Now he's one of the men.
Kukoc drives in, double pump, puts it in. Fadeaway top jumper from Tony in the corner.
I think Michael and Scotty considered him not just a teammate, but a valuable teammate.
Pippen on the spin.
Nice. Tony staying all the way on the outside. Tony, what do you got? Another three? Do you? Yes! 34, and that's a career high for Tony.
Innovation for the Bulls, trying to win their 44th in a row at home.
I always said,
that BTM, this feels like I'm watching a documentary. This is fantastic. What a great video. I almost forgot I was reacting to a YouTube video here. This is so great.
Those teams, especially the second three-peat, but the first one too, you knew as a broadcaster you were going to see something that night that you had never seen before.
Tony denied that little interior. Oh! Beautiful beyond the feet. Jason Kemp. Oh, man. There went our play of the game.
What elevation.
The Chicago Bulls are the first team in NBA history to win 70 games in a single season.
He's not open right now for this shot. Get the ball right now to Tony.
Kukoc. Coming down. Chicago Bulls have won the 95-96
Tony's always going to be one of my favorite players.
Chicago Bulls najbolji na svijetu. I pobjedili smo i number one. Ovako reci, number one. Ovdje Barbie. Number one. Tako je, number one. Ring is going back to Croatia.
The first reason was the
Did he say the ring is going back to Croatia?
Number one. Ring is going back to Croatia.
The first reason was the team chemistry on the Chicago Bulls. Now, if you watch the Last Dance documentary, then you know that the 1996 Bulls also had their scuffles and sometimes in practice also had their incidents. Still, this is something which is totally normal in team sport. But all in all, this team was on a mission, and on the court you could really see that they had chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
The result
that was the happiest basketball team I've ever seen, especially that year. They were just so happy on the court.
Beautiful team basketball,
even on the bench,
from player 1 to player 12. This team was also blessed with many great passers, if it was a Scottie Pippen or even a Luke Longley. Players with great court vision, they were perfectly suited for the triangle offense. But this is only one of the reasons why the 1996 Chicago Bulls were so great.
Dennis Rodman brought a critical piece to the puzzle, as the Bulls now boasted the game's most formidable trio. Carving out a vital presence, Rodman epitomized the meaning of team player.
You got it, Dennis. You got it. That's enough, man. That's enough.
But what's unique about this team is that in years past, teams generally have had to take some time to gel as a group. And this year you've added Michael back to the mix, Dennis Rodman as a starter, and they came together so quickly.
And the next reason was the determination of Michael Jordan. Now, we all know that MJ was a highly competitive player, probably the craziest we have ever seen. But in the 1996 season, even Michael Jordan reached a new level of determination. But why was that? Well, one season prior, he got embarrassed by the Orlando Magic in the playoffs, and this made Jordan work harder than ever before. And the result was that MJ came back in the shape of his life, and to me, he was really in his prime in that year.
Yeah, that's why, to me, he needed to get that. If he would have come back in 94, 95, well, at that point it was 95, came back out of baseball and they immediately won a championship, I think that would have been bad for MJ's in the long term, because he needed to lose in order to come back hungry. He needed to get humbled and go, oh, crap, we can lose, because at that point it's been, well, he hadn't experienced losing in about 5 years. So he needed that in order to come back so hungry, and I'm glad he did, because those next 3 years, he killed it. Yep, right there. He needed this to happen. Wow, that's cool footage. You hear him. He just yells out the F word. He knows. He just let the team down. That's not a normal thing you see with MJ too.
Well, I think it was all a challenge for the whole team. I mean, we all knew that it was a little bit of a failure from last season. Michael coming back, being his greatest player as he was at that time, he just wasn't up to par. He wasn't ready for a game situation. Looking back at that, I think Michael had a lot more to want to win over than anybody, because everybody remembered your last game, and he prepared himself the next season to go out and, for us to dismantle the whole league.
Yep. It's the revenge tour.
That was the year that he went out and filmed his Space Jam commercial. He had this big facility set up in California where he was working out every day. So anytime you hear that about Michael, that he's training, then you know he's not just training.
Oh, the audio cut out. It must have been a YouTube thing here. It'll probably come back. It's probably just the music that's playing in the background. But yeah, I like that from Pippen. When you hear that Jordan's out training, and we got to see exactly what he was doing, and he was calling out people from all over the league. to join him.
And the next reason that I have on my list is defense. So this one right here is probably the one that gets mostly overlooked. But again, this could also easily be the biggest difference maker to all the other teams that are in the GOAT conversation. The Bulls had the best defensive team of all time. They were as good as the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons, but without the brutality. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman are 3 of the top 10 best defenders of all time. But then you add guys like Ron Harper, who was one of the best guard defenders of his era, plus the John Spider Selly and James Edwards of the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons, and all the other guys were pretty solid too. The Bulls would only allow 92 points per game, which was pretty great if you take into consideration what a fast pace this team plays.
From there, familiar positions. Rodman trying to get it back, could not. And here is Person rejected by Hart. Back Cassell feeding Robert Horry and blocked by Dennis Rodman. What a wide open. Horry was going to stuff it. Rodman comes in. Williams. Look to Smith in the bed.
There you go, Scotty.
From here, nice play as Michael Smith goes.
Man, he jumped for the block before. Who is that? Isaiah Ryder? It's blurry. Before he even jumped.
Here, nice play as.
Yeah, Scotty is already off the ground going for the block ahead of time. That's when you know you're on another level defensively.
Michael Smith goes.
And then Luke on defense. Watch this erasure here.
Pulls up and shoots anyway, an air ball. The loose ball picked up by Curry.
Sorry, Dell.
Watch Bill Wennington, who lost it, and here comes Barrows.
Oh, Dana Barrows.
Comes from the back. He makes the block, but there's nobody there to help to pick up the ball. So Fox.
I remember him.
Pick this up. Comes Scotty from behind. He's trying to block
that's a foul.
5 to go on the shot clock. Thorpe all over Rodman.
Down here, Tony Smith goes on in, and Michael comes in the back and blocks it to the left
tonight.
Absolutely.
Due to a groin injury.
This is why we call this kind of defense just like a swarming defense, because the weak side is never stopping. There's always somebody coming in on the weak side, and like you got to have a panic attack if you're going against a defense like that. You gotta take the shot the second you've got it, because that's it. You hold that ball for 2 or 3 seconds, someone's coming in for the swipe or the block.
Watch it. Hardaway, the lead.
Beautiful.
And the next reason is the growth of Scottie Pippen. When Michael Jordan had retired a few years prior to 1996, Scottie Pippen suddenly was the main guy on the Bulls team. And this was the best thing that could have ever happened to him in order to grow as a basketball player. He now had the responsibility to carry the team every single night, and he did it in a spectacular way, almost winning the MVP award that year. Now when Michael Jordan came back, Scottie Pippen was even more of a leader and was able to carry the team when Michael Jordan needed a break. You could see that Scottie had a different kind of confidence and was now a true NBA superstar. And coming in with the next reason, the incredible Chicago Bulls bench. As an old school fan, you probably noticed a team is only as good as its bench. And the Chicago Bulls had a great bench in 1996. Steve Kerr, for example, who was percentage-wise the best three-point shooter of all time, he was the perfect addition to the team because once he was open, you knew he would make the three-pointer. Then, as I already mentioned earlier, you had John Spider Selly, who was a great all-around defender. Then you had role players like Randy Brown, Judd Bushla, Bill Wennington, and of course the best sixth man of that year, Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc would have been a superstar on any other team. I mean, this guy came off the bench, but he was a player who could score, who could handle the ball, who could pass, who could shoot from anywhere. So this guy was a solid player.
The only example or comparison would be Manu Ginobili coming off the bench for the championship San Antonio Spurs. Same thing. Anywhere else in the league, that's a starter. But to come in and be the catalyst off the bench, that was a huge difference maker.
And not to mention, this guy was clutch as hell.
Yes, he was.
And in his first season, he proved he was ready for playoff pressure.
Kukoc for the win.
Bang. Yeah. He was not a choker whatsoever.
He went on to play a key role in 3 Chicago championships in 1996 through 98, while picking up a Sixth Man of the Year award along the way.
We don't win without Tony. No one sacrificed more than what Tony Kukoc did. Coming off the bench, he accepted it and he embraced it.
Yeah, he had a choice. He could be a star or a champion. and he chose being a champion. I'm really glad he did too.
Best international players to ever come and play in America. His success speaks for that. He's one of the greatest to ever do it.
You know, I wanted to give you guys 7 reasons, but I would have so many more. The durability of that roster, so many guys playing heavy minutes and being able to play 82 games. Then the basketball IQ on this team. The defensive flexibility, you have multiple guys who could guard position 1, 2, 3. The triangle offense and so on. But now let's hear what some of the guys have to say that actually played in this era, and also some of the media guys who were around in those days.
Win that game. I mean, who'd you want? First of all, who'd you want to guard? You got Durant locked down, or?
Well, you know what? She said no. No.
We broke our franchise record with 64 wins that year. Then the Bulls break the NBA record with 72. That was a lot of good basketball.
Oh, man, it's going to cut off right there in 1 second. Oh, what a cool video. I had to remind myself a couple of times that, like, I'm watching a YouTube video. This was so well made. Such a good way to come back to BTM's channel. Like I said earlier, the link is down below. If you guys aren't convinced yet, I don't know what to say to you, but the link is down there if you want to go check out BTM's channel. I highly recommend it. I love this stuff. I've been smiling the whole time watching this video. I really have. And if anything, I've been fighting back the urge to comment just because I've been enjoying watching it so much. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. I think it's the obvious choice here. We got the 96 Bulls versus the 2017 Golden State Warriors. You heard all the criteria. So we could throw it in 2017 rules, or we can throw it in a 96 rules, or both. And put your comment down below. Who you got, and who you got in how many games. You heard me. I think if it was in 2017, the Golden State Warriors win 2, and it's a 6-game series victory for the Bulls. If it's in 96, I call sweep. Bulls 4-0. Anyways, everyone, I'm gonna head out for today. No After Dark tonight planned. I might change my mind later, but for now, no After Dark planned. But I will see you guys tomorrow for the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, as always. Can't wait to get into the comments and have a conversation with you guys about this and see what your guys' opinions are. And everybody, please like the video if you haven't yet. It helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And hit that bell notification if you want to get notified for tomorrow's drop. Everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out, everyone.